know congressional Republicans talk a good game about finally recognizing the dangers of the national security state, but excuse me for not really believing them after they just banded together last month to reauthorize renewal of FISA Section 702, following House Speaker Mike Johnson getting pulled into the skiff, basically scared into dropping all of his reform talk. Well, after all those promises about the FISA Section 702 being vital to national security to protect against foreign threat and that warrantless spying on Americans is not the intention whatsoever, well, turns out they lied again. Imagine that. The online publication Wired explains in a new expose, quote, obtained by Wired, an April 20th email authored by FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate to employees states, to continue to demonstrate why tools like this are essential to our mission, we need to use them, while also holding ourselves accountable for doing so properly and in compliance with legal requirements. Added Abate, I urge everyone to continue to look for ways to appropriately use U.S. person queries to advance the mission, with the added confidence that this new pre-approval requirement will help ensure that those queries are fully compliant with the law, end quote. That sounds an awful lot like Obama official Susan Rice writing that email which stated like 3 times, buy the book, buy the book, buy the book, when detailing how they would basically ambush and get General Mike Flynn. It's almost like that's a convenient cover story for posterity to read. Because on the one hand, the FBI will try to assure lawmakers that Americans are not the intended target of this tool. They'll say that they agree such incidents could be an abuse of the tool even. And yet, since there is a legal way to keep spying on Americans without a warrant, they'll keep doing it. It's the prime example of speaking out of both sides of one's mouth. All the feds need if they want to target an American is reasonable suspicion that the American has communicated with a foreigner who is believed to not be in our country, a foreigner they can claim they need to keep an eye on. And like magic, they can now start pulling data like phone and online records from private companies about all of that American's correspondence by using such a flimsy excuse. Joining us now to discuss is former Republican presidential candidate Larry Elder. Larry, thanks for being here tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. So it didn't take too much time at all, right, for the FBI to kind of do a 180 on what they were promising Republicans to go along with the FISA renewal. Is that surprising to you at all, or are you just sitting here going, nope, I suspected as much?
You know, that was a wonderful monologue you just did. There was a recent poll by Rasmussen that asked Americans if in a close election you could win by cheating or lose fairly. Only 7% said they would want to win by cheating. Most Americans said they wouldn't do that. But the elite, what Rasmussen called the top 1%, these are people that went to one of 12 so-called prestigious schools. They make over 150K. 85% of them support Joe Biden. 39% of them said that they would rather win by cheating than lose fairly. But the so-called politically obsessed, these are people that talk about politics every single day, 69% of them said they would rather win by cheating or lose fairly. These are people that run things. That's why this is parallel to your monologue. These are these people in the FBI, in these agencies. They hate Donald Trump. They think he's a fascist, and it doesn't matter how they bring him down as long as they bring him down. It doesn't have to be fair. So they can sleep at night with a good conscience because they believe that they're stopping the country from having another Adolf Hitler run the country. That's how they see the world. It is scary. It is beyond anything George Orwell ever wrote about.
No, you're exactly right on that. And of course, because they got away with the Russia hoax, they got away with so much. It didn't matter how much that came out in the years since that President Trump was able to declassify and more documents that have come out since. Nothing happened to pretty much any of them. And most of those who did leave government ended up getting jobs quite literally at CNN, MSNBC, right. NBC. So, I mean, they just keep failing upwards, and now they can control, the narrative from a different angle now, just through the media straight up, instead of being in the national security state, using the media. And so it leaves us in this predicament. And, the House Speaker, you was talking about reform, at least for FISA Section 702. It seemed like there was some momentum with the conservatives, with the House Freedom Caucus on that. And then it kind of died. It seemed the national security state pulled him into a back room, scared him straight, and then like I said, those dreams kind of died.